You just have to register as an enthusiast, and it's free.
Okay.
Don't ask me how you do that. You just go to like the registration page. Yeah, you can figure it out.
Okay.
So there are 3 golden rules. The scanner is not like a point and click camera. You know, if I want to take a picture, I shake my phone and I go boom and click. I got a picture. There you go. See? The scanner's not like that. You gotta actually think a little bit. It's like old school photography. Anybody here do old school photography, darkroom photography? SLR with a focus where you have to set the f-stops. No?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay, I've done that. I had a darkroom. It was really cool. So a lot of people don't get that. And the first golden rule is, this should be recording? Yeah, it's recording, so you can hear me yakking on here later. Is you have to set the correct distance for the object. Okay? You cannot just plop an object down and hit scan and expect that it's going to work. I'm going to open up just some pre-flight here. When you come in here and you want to scan something, this computer here is locked to that scan. Okay? So you can't throw your own laptop on here or hope to install it on your laptop and hope to use it somewhere. It won't work. Okay? If there's something going on here, they're videoing or doing something, or somebody's doing a podcast, just say, excuse me, and then you can just take this, move it out to the common area and scan it and you can scan anywhere you want in the building. Okay? It's got a Wi-Fi dongle somewhere around here that used to be here.
So the scanning is portable?
Yeah, this thing here, yeah. It's heavy. Don't drop it, please. $5,000. All right? So, when you sign in, you're going to sign in. This has to be connected to the network. You sign in with your credentials, Makerspace credentials, and then you're going to open a screen is going to open up kind of like this, and you're going to look for this icon right here, Scan Studio. Okay, and when I double click it, everything is going to open up, and then soon, if everything is connected fine, that little blue light should come on. And tell us. Yeah. Are you going? Are you going to go? Did I do something wrong? Are you powered up? You're powered. You're powered. Are you plugged in? Yeah, there we go. Okay. There's the blue light. It needed some time to think. Okay. Good. And then it's just going to kind of open up, and there we go. See right at the top there? Your scanner is ready. Okay, so I'm going to go spend some more time in describing how this works, but one of the first things that you want to do is make sure you know where you're saving your file. So you go into Edit Preferences here, and right in here, now you'll notice that this saves it in a subfolder, Documents My 3D, and what I'm going to do is I like to set everything to save to my desktop. Boom. Okay, so this is all being recorded, so you don't have to just pay attention. You can always review back to it. I do this with all my classes, and people love it. Okay, then we have that. The next thing is Scan. Under Scan, just make sure you have this Turn Off Texture Capture. Texture is in the 3D world. Texture is different than in the human world. In the human world, texture is if something is rough or smooth, right? But in 3D world, texture is the actual visual color or representation of the object draped over that 3D model. Now you can do that. You can capture the photographic image of an object with this, but it takes extra time. It can double, triple the time that a scan takes. And for all intents and purposes, for the kind of things that what you guys have been saying, you're probably not going to need it. Don't waste your time. Make sure that that's turned off. Now, if you're like wanting to sell something, or you want a 3D representation of it to sell on Etsy or some website, you want people to look at it and rotate it around, maybe there's a case where you need to scan it in the color so that people can look at the object. But make sure that's off. It will save you a ton of time in your scanning.
So, quick question. If I do it, can I turn it off? Like first one time, I want to have the structure, but for drawing or customization, I don't need the color. Can I just turn it off?
Yeah, I would always keep it off.
So scan on and then turn it off.
No, just make sure this is checked
Okay.
On to turn it off. It's a double negative.
Okay.
Check it on to turn it off. Check it off to turn it on. It's annoying. There are a lot of annoying things in this software.
Okay.
That's why people never use it. So yeah, check it on to turn it off, okay? And so going back to that golden rule number 1, when I first hit the scan button, you're going to get this dialog box, and you can see the scanner is starting to fire out the lasers. It's self-checking. But there are 3 different ranges here. There's macro close, 7.5 to 11 inches. The object has to be in that space, okay? Can't be outside of it. Wide is 22 to 28. Notice that wide starts at 22 and macro ends at 11.5. So from 11.5 to 22, it's blind. If you put an object in that space, it will not scan it, or very well. And that was another problem that people had. They'd never put, that's why golden rule number 1 is respect this, whatever setting you have here, and on extended, it goes from 22 to 40. Okay, so this, when you first open it up, this is the first thing that you're going to look at. Okay,
So
your range.
20 to 40, do we need to keep within that range or away from it?
That's the range.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if the range is 22 to 40, you're not going to put the object 3 miles away.
Okay. Yeah, so it has to be in that range. Okay.
Yeah, that's what the range means. Okay? And so you got to respect that. We're going to talk about the 3 modes of scanning here. There's single, where it does a single scan. There's bracket, where it will do 3 scans and adjacent angles. Okay? And then there's 360, where it will take an object and scan it all the way around. Divisions has to do with how many divisions you want that object to stop at and scan. So if I'm at 360, if I'm doing a 360 scan, and I set this divisions to 4, it's going to stop 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 90 degrees. It's going to take 4 scans at 90 degrees. If I can change this all the way up, it goes from 4 to 16. If I have it set to 16 divisions at 360, this one set, it'll stop 16 times, 22.5 degree increments all the way around, 16 scans. Okay? So you can think, depending on the complexity of your object, you're going to either use more divisions or less. Now the big difference between 360 and brackets, because bracket is controlled by divisions and so is 360. The difference is bracket only does, it's controlled by those divisions, so when it turns, it's, if I have bracket set at 4, it's going to scan the face, it's going to turn 90 degrees this way, and then it's going to turn 90 degrees this way. So it'll only scan 3 times. It'll scan the face and the 2 adjacents. 3 scans only, but use the same divisions. So here, bracket would scan 1 face 90 and then turn it that way 90. 3 scans. If I had this all the way up to 16, it would scan here. Remember, 16 divisions of 360 is 22.5 degrees. So it'll scan a face. It'll turn 22.5 degrees this way, and then turn 22.5 degrees that way. Scan 3 times only, and combine the 3 together. What bracket does is it allows you to get a really nice face, face on
Like
scan.
front view,
Yeah,
view.
and front view. It's also very good if you're trying to scan an edge
Oh.
and define an edge. So you scan here, and you scan here. You can combine all 3 and give you a nice definition of that edge. Okay? These are kind of like more advanced things. Single is basically just a single scan. And you can use single scan for doing faces. So if somebody was sitting in this chair and they were scanning my face, I would do a scan like that. I would do a single scan like this and a single scan like that, and then combine it together manually, together in the software. We also use single scanning to do a test scan. And a test scan, when we have all the settings right, you always do a test scan. Because you want to know if your settings are right. You don't want to do a full 360, wait an hour, come back, and nothing was there. Always do a test scan. When do we do a test scan? You got the right answer. It's funny, sometimes I ask that question and people are like, well, you should do a test scan. I'm like, oh, and they give me like the long-winded thing. It says that was like the perfect answer. Awesome job. Okay.
Always at the beginning.
Always. Yeah.
And, I don't, you
That's-
just mentioned that you can do a single scan and multiple sites of face
Right.
and then combine it. Like
That's what I just said.
can I do the same thing for others? Like the bracket scan also, you can scan a couple of bracket scan and then combine it.
Yes. You can combine any number of these things. You can combine a single with a bracket, a 360 with a single. You can have a whole bunch of single groups and combine them together. Okay, that's more advanced stuff. We're not going to cover that in here. Down in here is the resolution. Quick. Okay, quick is 135 points in a square inch. Okay, so maybe that's not, that's a square inch. That might not be a lot. That might be for something that has it's a relatively smooth contour with not a lot of detail. Okay, and it can go all the way up. 20,000 points per square inch. That's a lot. You can even, if you go into macro, where you're doing something really tiny, 206. There we go. Yeah, 268,000 points per square inch. That's a lot of points of detail. Okay.
So the leads, what kind of?
I'm probably somewhere around here or here.
The macros,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do wide here. We're going to take a look at some of these objects. So that's what I wanted to just point that out. Okay. The second golden rule is how you mount an object. There are a lot of different ways you can mount an object on the turntable. Or if it's a face, the mount would be the chair. There's a bracket system too. Now, I'm not going to this is a different scanning table, but there's different bracket systems that came with it. They're okay. Sometimes you can just use a pole and stick something on it. And there are different ways you can stick things on. There. Hot glue gun, really handy to stick things onto a bracket. Double-sided sticky tape, I don't really like it so much. I like the hot glue gun because you can just stick something on it, tack it on, and that stuff comes off real easy when you're done. Okay? When I say mounting an object, why that's really important, and you have to use a little bit of intelligence. Let's just take this thing, for instance. Okay? I've been in here, sitting in here, and someone will come in who hasn't taken my class, and they'll take an object, and they'll just throw it on there. Now you're laughing, but yeah, you really want to think about how you're going to scan something. You want to place it in a way that the object can be scanned properly. Okay, so if we were to look at this flower, we'll use this flower as an example. What's really the important stuff about this? If I scan it, like if you're the scanner, you can scan the outside, but you're not going to get the inside, right? So we want to maybe, if we're going to scan this, we might want to scan it kind of like this, right? Instead of like that. So you got to think about what you're trying to accomplish. The heart here, Betsy, she's pretty obvious. She's already on a pole, and we can scan that pretty easily without too much trouble. That's the second rule. Think about, use some intelligence, use some of that gray matter, and think about how it's going to scan. Do a test scan. If it's not capturing what you don't, if it's not capturing what you want it to capture, guess what? It doesn't matter how many more scans you do. It's not going to be able to do it. So you got to think about it. The third golden rule is dealing with transparency and reflection and anything with a mirror finish. So a water bottle, glasses, this crystal here pose a challenge. And that challenge is this crystal, for one thing, it's got a highly reflective surface, okay? It's transparent as well. The light is going to go through it. It's also going to refract through it and distort. When it sends the light, it's going to refract back and distort the information that's coming back. So if you were wanting to scan this, you don't really want to scan the internal structure. You want to scan the outside structure, right? So to scan this, you have to somehow cover that with something that gets rid of the transparency of the reflection. Now, there are different things. You can use baby powder, right? I mean, they use that in photography and videography to get rid of baby powder. You know, it doesn't smell like cancer. You heard about that? Baby powder? No, you're not supposed to use baby powder because it can cause cancer. They say. I don't believe anything they say. But you can put that on there, and that will get rid of the shine. But still, this still is transparent. I mean, there's another way that you can get rid of shine, and that's using this dulling spray. Okay, it's used in photography and videography for objects. That's why if you watch TV shows or movies, nothing's shiny. They use this stuff by the gallons. Okay, but this still doesn't cover the transparency. The transparency. So when you have something that's transparent, you really have to bump it up to another level, and that means you have to cover it with something that will block the light to go through. It should be something that's white. You can use athlete's foot powder spray. Okay, give it a good shake, and it's just spraying talcum powder, but it puts a nice even coat on it, and then you can rinse it off with like some isopropyl alcohol. Okay, that's one thing. If you really don't care about what the object is, you can use like primer paint, like Kills, or just a white primer and coat it. And then you'll get a really nice scan, okay? An example was a gentleman who wanted to do a door handle for his inside of his car, one of the members. And he had, on the right side, he had a Mazda. On the right side, he had an inside door handle. On the left side, where he was driving, he didn't have a door handle. You know, bad in a police chase, right? You're trying to escape. So he had to use the vice grip method. So he said to me, hey, do you think we could like scan the one on the right and make one on the left? I said, sure. I've never tried it. Let's give it a shot. So he took the one off on the right. It was chrome plated, very reflective, very hard to scan. So I just said to him, dude, we're going to just spray this with some Kills and cover it up. He was cool with it. So he did, and it scanned beautifully. But here was the kicker. The door handle on the right was a mirror image of the one that was on the left. Not a problem if you're at the makerspace, because we just took right out of the scanner, we took it to the KISS slicer, mirror flipped it in the KISS slicer, and printed a mirror image of it. Boom, in 45 minutes he had a new door handle. And he liked that one so much, he made another one for the right side. Okay, he liked it better than the chrome plated. Okay, and he just had to drill out the little pilot holes, boom, it popped right in. So that answers the question, like when you scan something on here, is it going to be bigger or smaller than when you print it? It's going to be 1 for 1. Okay? So those are the 3. And now we're going to get you up and start doing some scanning. Okay? I'm looking at these. Other than us spraying this with some, I don't have any athlete's foot powder spray. Okay? Primer. This is not going to scan very well as it is. Okay? This one, the flower, this is more amenable to using the small scanner where we can actually, it has a tilt and turn, so we can, that table, I don't know if I'm doing that next, but I do a class on using that table, and it will scan it like this, but it also will tilt it and tilt it like that, so you can get all inside and around. Okay, that's what that table is for. We're not going to do that today. So we're not going to do this. What we're going to do, we're going to use old Betsy here. She's great. I love her. She's like the best model ever. First of all, she's like super organic, right? It's a heart. How organic can you get? Plus, she's like all weirdly shaped, so there's nothing predictable about her, right? I mean, you're going to see in a minute what I mean. But we're going to use this, okay? And she works great for beginning class. So here's what we're going to do. Your name again is? Josh. You're going to sit here, and I'm going to turn this screen off, and you're going to watch up there, and I'm going to point to stuff so that everybody can see what we're all looking at, okay? All right, go ahead. Have a seat. What's golden rule number 1?
Golden rule number 1, always do a test scan.
No. Range.
Range.
Now, for Betsy, we're going to use wide.
Okay.
What's the range?
22 to 28 inches.
Okay, so you could use a tape measure, but I'm so smart and lazy that I took the control cord of this turntable and I actually marked the different distances on it, 22 to 28. And there's this, the middle. So this is what you do. You pull this out and then you take this and you place that right there. Do you see?
Okay.
Right?
Very cool.
And I'm going to move this, yes, go that way, right? And there we go. Okay, and then you put the heart right on top. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Now let's take a look here. You know what? We're going to actually bump this up just a little bit. Boom. Okay. Do you see the ruler on the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
10,
9, yeah.
10 to, not, 0 to, okay, that's my spot.
Okay.
Yeah, go sit over there. That's where the teacher stands. From 0 to 10, okay? When you get good at this, you can teach it, but right now I'm in charge.
No, I'm here because I couldn't see it.
Okay, do you need glasses?
Yeah.
You want some binoculars? You want to sit here?
No, I'm fine. Like I just
Can
want
you
to
see? Okay.
I can
If
see.
you can't see, then you can sit right here.
No problem.
Okay, 0 to 10. The midpoint of that turntable, place it right where the 5 is, right? Don't move that. You can move the scanner, or you can move that. Doesn't matter. You can do it this way. Boom, see? That way when it spins on the axis, it doesn't go off. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, up here, you see these two buttons here?
Yep.
Click the inner, any one of them. Click it and hold it. Click, hold it. Right, so now it's spinning all the way around. One of the things that we want to see, we want to make sure that Betsy doesn't go outside of this field of view of the scanner. Because she's weird shaped, right? She has unique morphology. She's full of heart. And that's good. Good. Okay. So you got that. Next, we have the right range. And we're going to do a test scan. This is single, okay? And we're going to just do it at the standard definition. This target light, neutral, dark, it only really affects texture. But I usually leave it at light because it gives it a little, I don't know what, for whatever reason, it gives it a little bit smoother finish. We got that good. And now, what you're going to do, here's something magic, okay? You can also put a bounding box on here. So you're going to click here, click, hold, drag, right, and bring it down a little bit right to here. Good. Let go. This saves a little bit of time because this is going to scan that whole window, but it'll process any of the data that it sees in there. But if you put a bounding box around it, it will constrain what data it will process, and you can save a bunch of time. A big question people have, what about stuff in the background? Okay, so what did I say,
Beyond 28.
Is it in range or out of range?
Out of range, I think.
Okay, it is way out of range. Okay? Yeah, it's way out of range.
Yeah.
You can be assured that it's out of range.
Yeah, it's out of range.
Yeah.
This is the center here. That's 28. It's out of range.
Okay, but the one consideration you have, sometimes they'll have something shiny or metallic or with a mirror finish. So range at that point doesn't matter. You should, if it's shiny or metallic, just err on the side of caution and get rid of that crap, okay? Here's your crystal. Very nice. I like crystals. This. Here's your rose. Okay. This will just stick here. All right. You're good. So you see the green light? That green button right there?
Yep.
Click it. Right on. And now we're going to switch. So what it's doing a test scan.
Like stuff?
This is our test. This we're just going to see. When we do a test scan, always do it with any object that that you really want to scan. before you get into more elaborate setups, we just want to see that the scanner can see it. It's not going to be perfect. It's just going to be a blob, but it is going to give us, we're going to see that it's capturing the 3D shape of the heart. That's your first good sign. Then we can move on to the next thing. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to do the bracket. Okay? But let's do this and let's see what we get.
What's the longest time you've had for a scan?
This is a really good question because a lot of the people who used to use this, and they gave up on it, what they would do is they come in here, they place an object down, they wouldn't even put it in the right range, and they would crank up all the settings. I'm going to have the highest definition. I'm going to have it on like super, I'm going to put it at 3,000 different scanning angles, and I'm going to just, right? And then they didn't do a test scan. They don't even know if it's going to capture. They walk away. They'll come back 3 to 5 hours later. And guess what? There's smoke coming out of the computer because it captures so much data it can't even process it. So here's another, this is kind of one of the other golden rules. Only scan to a resolution to capture the detail that you want. Okay? And maybe bump it up a little bit. And only scan at as many angles as you really need. Don't do a whole bunch of overlaps because that's extra data you don't need and it confuses things, okay, and it bogs the computer down. Yeah, this is a relatively fast computer. Okay, it's not the fastest in the world, but relatively fast. It's still, it can get bogged down. So that's that's a really important point is just do what you really need to do. Okay, so there we go. Take the mouse and just click and hold and you can rotate this guy. There we go. See, so capture that. The contour, and you can turn it and let go. There we go. Now there are a couple of little buttons, ball things here at the bottom here. Put this all the way down. This one it shows a color ball, but that one's only good if we capture texture. We didn't. So the one below it will do the same thing. Click that, and if you rotate, it just shows the surface. Okay. The next one is a mesh. Click that one. And if you zoom in a bit with the wheel, you can actually see the mesh. The next one will show you the point cloud. Okay? So I want you to zoom out a little bit and just show you a couple. Go back to surface. And one of the things that you can do at any time is you can start to trim out garbage. So if you would just rotate this guy just a little bit that way, and see this? That's the pole. You can go to trim, okay? And you click the little roundy thing, and just brush it, okay? Good, and then you hit trim. And there are other different options. Oh, good, yeah, everyone, good? Good, yeah, it got it. Okay, now one of the super things are annoying. So I just want to show you, this is like mouse control. Click on that arrow. Now, on here, you can rotate it, right? Click it, click, and rotate, right? Now, what happens if you click this wheel thing, or the round thing? Now go here, now try to rotate it. Oh, you can't. How do you rotate if you want to move around without having to go back and forth, back and forth? No, you use the wheel, you click and hold the wheel. Right. Click and hold it, and there we go. Okay? Another thing, what if you want to pan right to left and up and down? You hold both the right mouse button and the left mouse button down at the same time. Hold them down, okay? Those are two like weird things that are in here that are helpful if you're like trying to clean something up. Okay, you made a boo-boo, so just click that deselect, yeah, and hit Alt. Boom. Okay, hit the back button. Right, so that's a family. When we hit that green scan button, that created a family here. This, you can combine with other things later on. We're not going to, but this whole panel down here we can combine with each other to make a much nicer scan. We're going to hit the scan button again. Good. This time, we're going to do a back bracket. Okay? And we're going to actually move this to like 6. 6. Right. So what this is going to do, remember, bracket only does 3 scans. What's 360 divided by 6?
22 point.
No, 360 divided by 6.
60.
Is it? You sure? You sure? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to do 60. It's going to do a scan here. It's going to move 60 degrees. Take a scan. Move 60 degrees this way. Take a scan.
60
and come.
is the 22.
Okay. 60, right.
I was thinking.
You're one of those guys who just memorized answers in school.
No,
You
I
didn't
think
think. You weren't one of those thinking guys. You just like, you just want the answer. I caught you. Busted. Okay, so we're gonna do bracket. Now I'm gonna teach you what you want to do. Let's turn this guy so this thing here is like facing us. Yeah, hold it. Good. Go, 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 go. Right. Now, you see the outlier buttons? Those ones will move the object based on what you have in divisions here. Turn it, move it 60 degrees, turn it, move it 60 degrees.
So you test.
You can test. So just click this outlier button here once, and it'll turn it 60 degrees. Stop. And now do this one. Back to the face. So you can see what angles it's going to scan at, and one more time. Plus, you can also see if it's going to get clipped and go outside of the boundaries. Okay, now bring it face on again. Good. All the settings are good. We have it on wide. Everything is good. Go ahead and hit start for it.
this is a real scanning, no test, right?
This is the real deal. We cannot make a mistake. This is like life and death. This is not the fantasy world. This is not fantasy. This is reality.
Question.
So that's what a good scan is. I'm sorry.
No, not yet. We're just like, I'm going through the process. This is the process that you go through. You do that test. Now, we're doing the bracket, so you see what it does. But again, what I said is bracket is typically for if you want a really nice clean face, like a one-side face scan, or if you're working doing an edge. There are occasions, maybe I'll pull up some examples of things that have edges, that if you just do 360, it might not capture that edge very well. Okay?
So, go ahead.
So if you want, what you could do, for instance, you could take an object and just do a full 360 at 16 degrees all the way around. And you're looking at the scan, you say, you know, it didn't capture, there's this thing that sticks out and has an edge. It didn't capture it. I can't really see. So what you do is you set it to bracket and you line that edge up to the face, you know, the first scan face, and then you bracket it, you know, you might have to test a few, 8, 9, 10, you know, what division it's going to be to capture that edge just right, and then you merge it into the bigger scan later on. Okay?
So bracket, we can also use it for if there are any home decor, some artistic decor, if you want to make it, where you don't have any backside, that can be used for the bracket,
yeah.
right? Instead of collecting 360 degree, collecting more data, just scan this, and create something out of it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you can do that.
Bracket does the face and then
To the two adjacent.
sides,
Two adjacents. What?
left and right.
Left and right. Yeah.
If we set it at 16, it does it at
22.5 degrees. If you set it at 4, it'll do 45 degrees, or 90 degrees.
90 degrees.
If you set it at 8, it'll do it 45. We set it at 6, so it'll do 60.
Only 3 times.
No,
Okay.
6. Something
So
like that.
if it's actually, as the example I gave, if there's a more detail on the side, then we'll lose.
Yeah, if you just do a single scan or something that, okay, let's say for instance, I'll give you a real world example, okay?
Yes.
You ever see it like say you have a stone, a flat stone. Here's a totally real world example. You're out hiking and you find this flat stone, right? And it's got all these like cool contours in it, and you're thinking to yourself, you know, I would love to take that flat stone and build a fireplace with that stone, but I don't have one like it, right? So what you do is you take that stone and you put it on the turntable there, and you say, I want to just, that one side, I really want to get it, a good shape of it. So you scan it, you do a bracket scan, boom, and you get the complete, the contour and everything of it. And then from there, I don't know, you create a mold out of it, you could shrink it down a little bit, and you create some mold, a couple of molds, and then you create a bunch of tiles of that shape from that one thing. And then, you can make them smaller, and then for your fireplace, your bathroom, you just have a whole wall of these like stones that you cut out, that you've molded out from that real stone, but then now you've created this mold or this textured pattern that looks like that one stone. Okay, that's real world. You get it? Why you would use bracket and not single or 360? Because you want a really good face with that. How are we doing? Good. Let's do the last one. Scan. It did it. What? Oh, it's doing the last one. 3. Okay, so here to answer another question. Would you right-click on B here for me? Notice, look, A had 1 panel. B has 3. Right-click as expand family. I'm going down to sub-level. B, there's B1, B2. It's doing the last one. It's going to do B3. 3 scans, and you're going to see that it's at those different angles, right? Right.
What's the weight limit on the 2?
You shouldn't put anything on there that would crush it, or break it, or shatter it. I think that's the weight limit. How's that for? That's a smart ass answer, right? Yeah, I don't know. I do not like to admit
That's
that
a safer answer.
See
Because
that
now I can't say he said.
right. See, my answer is all encompassing. I can't be wrong with that answer,
This uses
and I don't have to admit that I don't know.
this uses the laser scanning, isn't it?
Yeah,
So is there any object with a sensitive to laser which I should scan?
like eyes.
Eyes.
Yeah, do not scan your retinas.
So I can't make custom contact lenses.
No, you can't make custom retina contacts. Yeah, sorry. But if you do want LASIK, free LASIK surgery,
Just
next
hold your eyes
class,
open.
just stand right there with your eyes wide open. That was a joke. Don't do that.
I can register right now.
You have to be so careful nowadays. Like, people take you so literally. That was not literal. That was like allegorical. Okay, do you see it's got the 3? Now go click up. Right, and it combined it. That's B. Do you see how it's highlighted? Now notice, this is in green, this is in blue. Green is your workspace. Blue is the stuff that's is not in your main workspace. We don't really want to use A. We really want to if we're going to post-process this, smooth it out, fuse it, and then do some other post-processing, it has to be in the green. So what you're going to do is you're going to right-click on here and detach it. Boom, it went into the blue. And now you're going to right-click on B, and you're going to bring it attach, and it's in the green now. Now we can proceed with other things. But would you trim out the pole for me? Go to trim. Yeah, and so this brings up another, yeah, that's right. Brings up another question. You have to hit the plus on the, this brings up another question. Do I have to trim each individual one, or can I trim them as a group? You can trim all 3 as a group. So go ahead, just paint those, right? Good, right? And then hit trim. Boom. Now rotate it around. Yeah, wheel, click the wheel. So do you see how that gives you, that's much nicer. Go ahead and let's see the front. Right there. Yeah, you got the back. I just want to see, I want you guys to compare the front of this one and the front of that one. Yeah. Why don't you just use the arrow? Yeah. Good. Okay, now click that one. So do you see, that was one scan, the other one was the bracket. Okay? Yeah, it just means it got it at more angles. Switch. Any comments, questions, or threats? No? Awesome. Okay, next, back. Right arm. We're moving. Hit scan for me. Next, we're going to do 360. Yep. Go ahead. Click that. Good. Everything's good. We're going to leave it at that 6. Okay? It's going to do 6 scans. It's about a minute each. And it's going to take about 6 minutes. Okay? So we get to take our powder break or whatever. Okay? And, but any time that you do a 360 or a bracket and you know it's going to move, you should always check to make sure it's not going to get clipped. Always, 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 always do check it all the way around. When do you check it? When you do? No, when do you check it when you do a 360? How often do you do it? Like you check it? Always.
Always.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay, so you click. No, click the middle one. Click. Yeah, hold that one and hold it.
Oh.
And we just you get into
Oh,
the
yeah.
habit. Yeah, hold it.
Always. Yeah.
Always.
Before you scan anything, this is the
Yeah, always.
dig it like a rotate.
Because you know why I like the heart? You know why I like this heart? Because it's weird shape. And if you set a bounding box around it, sometimes like really tight, put a really tight bounding box around it, and you rotate it, and just like, oh, I didn't know, oh, that end gets, it kind of pokes out. Keep, oh, is it good? You got it? Right on. And so now, hit start. It's 6:37. We shall return here at 6:45. And it should be done. Okay? And then we're going to move into, then we'll fuse it, and then we'll have you come up and do a little bit of post-processing. And then I'm going to jump in and show you some cool things how we can take it. Because this is going to save it as a mesh. You can't really do a lot of stuff with a mesh other than 3D print it. But if you want to turn that into something else, like you want to alter like that pistol grip or something else, I'm going to show you what you do next to change the file, convert it to something else where you can start doing super cool stuff. Okay? So 6:45. All right? No, unless if you stare at this while it's scanning, it will go faster. That was a joke. Do not take that literally. Don't bump the table, please, while we're out of here, okay? All right, 6:45. You can leave your stuff here. You don't have to take it with you. It's cool. 6:45.
Like they have really, oh, I don't know, Star Wars shows Jaws 2's like monster which of the Jawa chasing the toy. But it was like $35. $18, $20. Right. They're like, well, like,
Alright. Done. Good. Have a seat. Okay, let's take a look at C. Oh, remember how we detach? And then, yeah, let's detach that one. Good, because our working one is C. Go ahead. Right click, attach. Good, so click on that, good. And then rotate it around for us so we can see. Okay? Now, you see, now you'll notice, yeah, on the bottom, like, go to the bottom, there's some parts of the scanner can't see. And if you go to the top, there are other parts that it can't see. Don't be alarmed, we can fix this. But, I mean, we can have this, when we fuse this, it'll fill in those holes and it'll make it look really good. But if you really needed to capture, you know, the details of some spot, you would have to take this model, okay, and turn it on its side and scan it this way again, and then fuse the two together. Okay? We're not going to get into that. If that's something that you need to do, find me. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, it's a little bit more advanced. Is that a thumbs up? I like getting thumbs up. I feel like I'm liked. Okay. Do you want to try the trim?
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, you got to put it at an angle. That's good. And then go to trim. And you can we had you got to hit the. Oh, why don't you try this? I like this one, polygon. And so what you can do is you click once, right? And then click again. Here, click. And then yeah, good. Down here, click. And then you just double click right on and hit trim. I like that one if you have a lot of stuff that you want to get rid of. Boom. Okay, we're gonna hit the back button. If these are things that you don't want to use, and you want to save this file, you can delete these. Okay, and it will shrink your, the file size will be smaller, so you don't have such a large file. So you can right-click on here and hit delete. And again, this one too. Delete. Right, now right-click on this one. Expand family. So you can see that was 6, right? 6 scans. And those are the 6. that are combined and hit up. Next step, we're going to go through and go to fuse. Right, now fuse, what that's going to do is going to take all of those 6 separate meshes and fuse them into one. So ultimately we can export it out as one file. And there are a lot of annoying things in this software. One of them is things look grayed out that you should click. So we're going to click on settings. Okay, your go-to settings for fusing are mesh reconstruction, high, relax fitting, and create a watertight model. This one here, create watertight model, will automatically fill in all the holes that the scanner did not get and make it look pretty. Okay, so those are the default settings. We're going to hit apply. And now hit fuse.
So there will be any white cloud.
And so the nice thing about this is it's not going to affect the original. It's actually going to create a new one. So if you didn't like the way it worked, you can always go back
And fuse it again.
and try with a different setting. But those are your kind of your go-to. You're probably not going to, those ones always work out the best. So there's the original. That's the new one. Notice that it has only one panel, it's one mesh. And now rotate that around. So you notice how it filled in all the holes. And if you look at the bottom, okay, pretty good. I mean, it didn't capture, I mean, there was no data there, but it looks pretty, you know, half decent for like a minimal scan that we did. Hit the back button for me. Good, and we're going to switch. So far, so good?
Yes.
Following me? Okay. And would you please click polish? All right, there's 3 things in here in polish. They're in the wrong order. Like a lot of things in this software are in the wrong order. It's got fill, buff, and simplify. Fill is that you would click to, if there are little holes and things, or you want to detect holes, to fill in those holes in the mesh, you would click that. Never, never, never use that fill button for anything. Okay? Half the time it doesn't work. The other half the time it crashes your computer. Okay? So don't say, hey, I'm wondering if I use that. Don't come up to me and say, I'm wondering if I could, if I use that, if I tried using that fill button in this application, if it would. Don't. Just like, don't even bother thinking about it. Just like when you're when you come in and scan, get some black electrical tape and put it right over the screen, right here. Okay? The next one, this is in the wrong order. We're going to go to simplify. Would you click simplify for me? Okay, what is simplify? Simplify, would you go to this bottom one, the point cloud, and would you zoom in for me? Now you notice how it's kind of patchy?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember, we created this patchwork of scans. Some of this, where it's thinner, is where it had to fill in the data. Some other places are just, it's not really super, the mesh is not super even. What simplified does is it really just, it evens out the point cloud and it thins it out a little bit. Okay, now you can go to an extreme and simplify this so far that it doesn't have enough data to create a surface. Bad. So you just really, your go-to, the tolerance here is set to 5 thou. Your best bet, unless you have this extraordinarily large scan, your best bet is just to change that from 5 thou to 10 thou. So double click and put 0.01 in there.
0.01.
Yeah, 0.01. Right. So we changed it from 5 thou, the tolerance from 5 thou to 10 thou. And what that will do is it will even that out, and it will have the size of that file when we export it out. Okay? So what you're going to do now, you don't have to do anything here. All you have to do is hit simplify. And then we'll look at what it does to the mesh. Just watch. Okay? Now zoom in. Okay. Yeah, do you see how it kind of even things out a little bit? It also halved the file size. So if we had exported out raw like that, it may have been 40 megs. It's now probably around 17 megs. Okay? And we're going to go back. All right, we're going to do buff. Remember, this does not exist. Right.
Yes, I didn't see it.
Okay. So, but can we just click on the second one here? Right. So, do you see how there's sometimes like this little modeling or like bumpiness? I know it might be part of the model, but maybe we don't want it. Well, we could use buff. Click on buff for me. Now, buff. This is how you want to understand it. These you have less smooth to more smooth. It's not a good description. This is how you want to imagine this. Less smooth is like using 400 grit sandpaper. More smooth is like using 80 grit sandpaper. So if you want to retain detail, you're not going to use 80 grit sandpaper. Okay? What I'm going to say, pro tip, is always use this less smooth setting here. Don't ever do anything different because it's additive. That means you can apply less smooth, you can look at the effect, and if you feel like it needs more, you can apply more and apply more. But if you hit it with this more smooth, it can erase a lot of details and you'll be really depressed. Now the question people ask at this point, is there an undo? And officially there is an undo, but it's disabled. And here's the reason why. The undo here is not really truly an undo. The undo is really an incremental backup. So every time you go to a new step, like in post-processing, what it will do is it will do a full backup of your model, full save, incrementally. If your model is large, that can take a long time. And I've done large models, and I would sit there 5-10 minutes on this undo, and it's a pain in the butt. So one of the reasons why I teach the class the way that I do, where we get you through the quicksand of the software, is so that you don't have to undo anything. But if you are risky, if you have a risky personality and you want to try something different, okay, I would always say do your own manual incremental backup where you would just save it, but save it as a different file. You say part 2, part 3, part 4. And if you screw up on trying something new, okay, you can always go back one step. So you always do manual incremental backups. I don't have it turned on here because it's so annoying, okay? So we're going to do that. And then one thing I find that really helps a lot is if we just put a number in here like 0.1 in the deviation tolerance, and you can bump this, if you really wanted to do a little bit nicer job, you can bump this up. So put that to 20, right? And then you're going to hit buff, right? So what this is going to do, I could have manually selected an area with this, but if we just hit it as it is, it's going to do the whole thing, okay? All right, and just rotate it around. So it smoothed it out. It's still maintained. You see how it smoothed it out a bit? And it's still maintained. You doing okay? Come on in.
No, I'm good.
I know you're good, but you can come on in.
I'm good.
This is my friend Eric. This is my friend Eric. Come on, join us.
No,
This is Eric.
Good.
Hi, my name is Eric.
Hi, my name's Eric. I just left the PR committee meeting.
Yes. So, and
You keep.
you want something? Okay, I'll be down soon. Yeah. Right on. Pretty cool. Got it? Hit the back button. And back again. And I'm going to jump in, Nick. This is where I take them. I'll show you the super cool stuff. All right. So we have our heart. Any emergencies? Oh, my phone is dead. Crap. Okay. There's our heart. Okay. It looks pretty good. I mean, it's not exactly because just of some of the settings, but you can bump up the settings and the resolution and the angles. But we're going to go into CAD. And I'm just going to strongly suggest that if you scan something and you want to 3D print this, always bring it out to something like Fusion 360 or Tinkercad and orient it the way that you want it to print on the 3D printer. Don't try to orient anything in here. Super annoying system that they have in here. You would do that in here, orient, where you would orient it on the XYZ. It's not intuitive. It's extremely annoying. Just avoid that. avoid this one, okay? But this Surface one is the super cool one. We paid it's a plug-in, $1,000 upgrade, and what it does, this is a mesh right now, okay? Okay, it's a mesh. You cannot really do much with a mesh unless you're like a super pro in Maya. That's an Autodesk product, but most of us are not. But this Surface plugin that we got is like awesome. And what it does is it will convert the mesh into a surface body, which then allows us to bring it into like Fusion 360 or any other CAD program and manipulate it and modify it in super cool ways, like the pistol grip. Okay, so we're gonna click this surface, and I don't know. I'm gonna put this this one. You can set the surfaces from some small number up to 5,000. I have done this. I've tested it out at 5,000 on a large mesh, which was a face, and it did it. Okay, you know, it's a miracle when software actually works the way it was designed. And I cranked it up. I wanted to see if it would do it. Now I surfaced a face on here. It took about an hour and a half to process it, but it did it. Okay, and so you can risk actually if you really need a ton of detail on something, it will work. But that's only if it has like some crazy amount of detail. For this heart, it's going to be sufficient even at 400, but I'm going to just put 500 in here, okay? And I'm going to surface it. So what it's going to do, the little gerbils inside there are going to go around and start putting these mesh or these surface patches all over it to fit it, okay? And we're going to run it. It doesn't take too long. It takes longer at bigger numbers, but at 500 it shouldn't take too long. And then you're going to see, I'll walk you through it in Fusion 360 how it works. Super cool. We can turn this heart into pretty much anything you want. We could turn it into, well, I'll ask you, what do you want? Do you want a piggy bank or do you want a coffee cup? A piggy bank? What do you want? See, I've done piggy banks. I want to do a coffee cup. Is that cool? Okay, so we're going to turn it into a coffee cup, and literally today, if I'm not going to do it, but literally you could take that and 3D print it into a heart coffee cup today. Okay, so if any of you want it, you can have a file and 3D print yourself a heart coffee cup. Okay, it's doing it. Generating meshes. Isn't this cool? This is super cool. Did it do it? Okay, there we go. So our original file was D, which was a mesh. Okay, and then E is our oh, is it the combined one? Let me just see. Expand. No, it's just the one. Okay. So this one is I don't know why it's showing the mesh underneath. I'm going to change the view to solid. There we go. Okay, so this one is just surface bodies, and this came out pretty good. Now I see a little bit of crinkling here. Let me see. Oh, no, that's right. It's there. Usually if you don't do enough, if your number isn't high enough on that surface body, you get these little weird like crinklings, like maybe in here. And if you see this little crinkling right here? In here, if you see that and it's unacceptable to you, you go back into that surface thing and you bump it up a little bit, maybe to 600 or 700, and it will remove that crinkling. Okay? So now I'm going to go back and back again. So we have we have D, which was our mesh, and we have E, which is a surface body, and we're going to output it. Now, I'm going to combine these two. They're both in the green. Do you notice how they kind of superimpose on each other? They're both in green. They're both in our workspace. And to export something out, it has to be in the green. So there are different ways you can export it. The two standards are STL, which is a mesh for 3D printing, and STEP, if you want to do some fancy stuff. So they're both in green. I'm going to hit STL, and I'm going to save it on the desktop as heart. Okay, and this is only going to export out the mesh portion of what's in the green. Just click OK. Don't ask me why, what that means. And then step, and I'm going to do hard again. Save. Good. And minimize. Before we start doing fun stuff, we're going to go into Fusion. And I'm just going to go to my, where are you? Random things. This is my random things folder. Right on. Okay. You have to import these differently. They have to be treated differently when you import them. The surface body, okay, you can't directly import the surface body. You actually have to upload it to the cloud through Fusion 360. Fusion 360 is free for enthusiasts and hobbyists, so take advantage of it. It's pro-level software. I teach a bunch of classes. If you want to get good at modeling stuff, this is the way to go, and a lot of people are using it now. And we can all collaborate and learn from each other. So you're going to select this file. You're going to go to desktop. I'm going to go to heart. There's my STP file. Okay, that's the surface body. Open, and I'm just going to upload it. And I'm going to let it upload, and I can watch its status down here. Okay, and I'm going to wait for that. Next, I'm in this new file. For a mesh, you treat it differently. You go into Insert, Insert Mesh. There it is, heart. And I'm going to open, and I'm just going to let it import into Fusion 360. So there we go. There's the heart. Okay, it is a mesh. So if I do change it to, you can see that it is composed of this mesh, and it looks like they put a surface skin on it. I don't like that. I like it like this. Okay, there we go. Okay, now you can. They do kind of have this beta in here. If I look, oh, pay attention here. Under the design tree in bodies, which I just imported, it shows as a mesh body. Okay. So you know what that is. You can even, if you look at properties, because sometimes this is important, you look at properties, it'll tell you that this has 330,000 facets. It's pretty large, a lot of stuff in there. You can't really do much else with that. I could go into here, I'll edit, and I can go into the mesh workspace. There are some things that I can do. I can remesh it. I can reduce it if I wanted to. But this is like simplify, but if I reduce it too much, I'm going to lose a lot of detail. I like this one, if there are holes in it, remember I told you don't use the fill in the scanner? Rather, if there are holes in your scan, bring it to Fusion 360 and use this one, make a closed mesh. Okay? That works so well in here. There are other things where you can smooth it out and do some cuts. Not a lot you can do, okay? And then I'm just going to close this up. And let's go back to the data panel. There it is, my heart that I just imported. So it's a new file, and this is the STP. And it's going to open it up as a separate file. And there it is. This is the one that I just exported out, okay? And it's showing all the patches. Now you're going to notice, you know, I've got these different kind of patches, but if now when I go, take a look, if I go to bodies, see here this one was a mesh body, but in the STP, it says unstitched. Remember I said I wanted 500 patches? Well, when I put that 500 in, I'm telling the little unicorn gerbils in here, I want you to put surface patches on this and try to get it around the 500 number. And so that's what they did. And they had to add a couple of more, so don't panic about that extra number. But when I open this up, it's going to show me a whole list of all, do you see, the different patch bodies. I could, in fact, go here and turn that one off, and it puts a hole there in this. Do you see that? It's a hole. But here's what we do, because we're not there yet. These are all a bunch of patches. I want to stitch them all together and make a solid body out of it. So here we are in bodies. It's unstitched, and I just Windows select all, and I go into the patch environment. And in modify, there's what's called stitch, but it also happens to be the default icon right here at the top. So I just have to Windows select and click stitch and remove the hands. There we go. What I want to say is that when you do the stitch on something, if it's really large, just click it, take your hands off the mouse and the key. Don't click around. Just let it do its thing. You're going to see all these green lines say where it's going to stitch, and then I hit OK, and then I wait. Boom. It stitched them all together into one solid body. Super cool. And I'm just going to change this visual style to it looks like a heart now. Okay. Do you see that? It's a solid body. I can do cool things with this. The first thing that I want to do, you would learn this like if you took some of the Fusion 360 classes, you learn how to kind of get around and move in it. My origin is right here, so what I'm going to do, the origin for this file is about there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move this guy up to here, and that's good. So you know what I want to do with this? I'll do something really radical. I want to put a cup, like an opening here for a drink, so you can pour something in here. But you know what I want to do here? Here's what I want to do there. Think about it. Think about it.
Straw.
No, straw holes. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, so what? But we need a base, right? Because that's not going to sit. That's not going to sit. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, on that plane, I'm going to create a sketch. And I'll do something, I'll go back into model. Okay. So I'm power working through this so that you can see how this works. And let's see. Let me pick something interesting. Oh, I've never done this before. I'm going to put a torus there. Like a donut body. I kind of dig that instead. Rather than putting a flat body, you know what I want to, like those, something like that. And then I'm going to move that up a little bit. And let me see what we got here. See, I'm having fun with this because I've never done this before. I've never made like a mug. So I put that there. You know why I did that is I didn't want to just put like a flat bottom. I kind of wanted to make it like a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to put it like right here so it's got some balance. And like those, okay, I don't mean to be rude or offensive, but like in the olden days, you've seen them in some of the old movies where people like hemorrhoids or hemorrhoid surgery. The doctors would give them this like balloon to sit on, right? And it would be like a tiny inner tube. Okay, don't report me to the authorities, all right? But that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of having it like it sits on this little inner tube thing. So that's that, and it's kind of connected. So when this sits on the table, it'd be kind of sitting like that, right? You dig it? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually combine those two because they're two bodies right now. So 1, 2, join. Okay. It's now one body, right? And it's kind of attached in two spots. Okay, that's cool. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a plane, but above it's going to be up here, so I'm looking down, straight down, and I'll put the, I'm just going to put the plane there, and I'm going to draw a sketch right on that plane, and then I'm going to project this body so I kind of know where it is. I'll do the edge. There we go. It kind of gives me a reference point up here where that donut is. It's like right there. Okay, top. And now I'm going to make a cup. So I can just do a cylinder right on top of that on here. Good. And I'll do that. Boom. And that's good. I'm going to have to move it around a bit. But should I make it a bit bigger? I can make it a bit bigger. Good. And then I'm going to move it over to about here. Right here. That's good. That's kind of centered right over it. Right? I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to use this as a cutting surface. So I'm just going to extrude that right down through. And I'm going to cut. There we go. I can actually see how far it's going to cut, and I want it to cut to about here. Right? Boom. And I'm going to hide that body and that sketch and that sketch. So there we go. Oh! I cut too far. Do you see that? Don't panic. I'm going to undo that. And I want to do this. There we go. I'll do it again. Bring that down. Not too far this time. Cut. And I don't want to go all the way through. That's not cutting through, is it? I don't think. Oh! Right there, it's cutting through, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit, and that's good. Okay, let's see how that looks. And let's get rid of that body in these sketches. That didn't cut through. Looks good? Okay, next, we want to put some holes through these for straws, right? And what I'm going to do, I have to angle it right at the right angle. So I'm going to angle it so that it goes this way. So it's kind of fun. You can create, in Fusion 360, you can create infinite planes to draw on. And I want to draw one that just goes, a couple that go straight down at that angle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a plane at an angle, and I need a line. So I have to draw a line first here. Going to be a bit tricky, but we'll see. Where's that line? No, I'm going to do this a little bit different, sorry. I'm going to go back to the top, and I'm going to draw on that one. Oops, sorry. There we go. And, okay. And I'm going to draw a line sort of that angles right in here. Line. Go here to kind of the center of the cup, like that. Good. Okay. And I need to do another, it's kind of getting that whole angle thing. And I'm going to stop here. I have to create a plane on here. Kind of super annoying actually, but that's the only way that you can do it. I got a line here. Good. And then I'm going to create another line on that plane, and it's going to be something like that. Right. And now I have to create another plane at an angle. Okay, and I'm going to make it 90 degrees to that. Is that right? No, I'm going to have to change it. So do you see how the angle is not right, but I can change it something like that. So do you notice how that plane is angled kind of down into the body? That's a really, that's really where you start using these construction planes. You would learn that in my classes. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a sketch on that. And let's put some holes. Like I'll put one here where that one is. One here. This is actually pretty cool. I could sell this like on, I don't know, thinkgeek.com. I put some holes here with the art. I bet I could sell this to surgeons. Right? Do you see those holes? Now let's hope that this is actually really cool. I might not give this to anybody. I'm going to extrude these. I'm going to click boom, 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 boom. Okay, those are going to cut. And it's going to set to cut. And I'm going to grab, come on, go, go, go. There we go. A little bit more. Boom. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yep. Okay. Boom. Check it. I just made a cup with straw holes in it from a scan of a heart. Is that cool or what? Now, it will be one-on-one. This cup is going to be that big. So if you're happy with that, this is it. I like it. So I've got it. I'm going to just save this because this is like my heart cup.
It can be a table weight also. Like you can keep your pen and other stuff, rubber and eraser in it.
You could. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. But I think I like the cup. I like the thing with straw holes in it. Oh, it's got a little bit of a boo-boo in there, but I'm not gonna. Well, let's fix it. That's like kind of super annoying. So I'm gonna fix that. Edit sketch. Let's make that hole a little bit smaller. Stop sketch. And boom. So now it doesn't have the boo-boo in it. Good. You can see right in. And okay, I saved it. Right? Here it is. This is the magic unicorn stuff. I've saved it. It's one body. It's this one right here. Right click. Save as STL. High refinement. Okay. Desktop. Heart cup. Save. Boom.